I think we're all very, very inspired with all three speakers. Now we open it to question answers. So any one of you can have your questions to any one of the speakers. Uh, Anyone would like to start? If not, then I can be a little biased and start myself, maybe. If I may, this question is an open question. I mean, any of our guest speakers can answer this. I've always been under this confusion because all of you had a kind of a common platform where we all talked about spirituality, and which is so very essential, and especially in today's world where uh, the large mass of students are very restless and aggressive and all that, right? So all three of you had this common thing of spirituality or understanding the self, right, as you grow up. Now, how far, I mean, I am totally baffled about this, is, when NEP comes up with so many terms and terminologies, and, they talk about Bloom's taxonomy and competency-based question and this analyzing and this and that. When we were young, I don't think we heard so many terms, and our teachers also did not hear so many terms probably, or it was not really defined and streamlined the way it is right now. And I feel the NEP is more for the teachers than for the children. So how far would you say, because I really don't know, how far would you say that the entire system of NEP as it is exactly would actually lead to what we are really looking for? What we are looking for is that stability of the mind, that the identification of the spirituality. How far would NEP actually lead to that? Because even though we've just begun with all this, I don't see much of it working it that way. I think there are far other ways where, these kind of things can be brought in with much more ease. I don't know. I mean, like, it might sound a little this thing, but this is what I feel. So any one of you enlighten on that.
Okay. Nandita, what I would like to say is that the first thing we need to understand NEP as a very long-term program. And as you said rightly, of course, it is meant for teachers. It's meant for teachers, it's meant for education, it's meant for all those of us who would really want to bring the change in the field and in the process of education. So we need to understand that, see, there are certain things which constitute the vision of NEP, its aims, its goals, its objectives, as to what is the essence of what it really wants to do. But definitely there is a thrust, there is a whole direction that NEP is taking head on, in terms of at least shifting education from the prescriptive, the kind of prescriptive kind of a model which the Macaulay had set in. You learn this, and you are taught this, and the child has been like a blank and an empty vessel where you kind of dump all sorts of information into his head, into a developmental model. So definitely that is very visible, that they want to develop the human being in all the different aspects. Lot of stress on the physical development, on the physical culture, physical education, sports, etc. A lot of what you call thrust onto aesthetic development. They're talking of integration of science and arts, and arts being continuous process in the classrooms. So it's a great kind of introduction of art in the classroom, which Steiner, Tagore, Aurobindo, all these great educationists absolutely would want to champion. Then
what I mean is actually, like, theoretically everything is absolutely fine. They want the development that is also there. Yes. How much of it is practically we able to implement is what is my question.
Yeah, Nandita, see, this is where we always come onto the crossroads. We feel practical means it has to be some kind of a package which is going to be opened up in a classroom and there's going to be magic. Well, unfortunately, again, the entire thrust has been shifted from the outer to the inner. You see, the entire landscape is no more the outer.
Correct.
In our very life, you will see that the entire attention is now into the inner landscape. So whether you're talking of China, whether you're talking of Tagore, whether you're talking, by the word of Sri Aurobindo, it's end of the day the exploration of the self which is foremost. So
Absolutely.
as you said, it may appear impractical, but that is the only practical. Now we have to look inward. We have to discover the truth within us in terms of trying to manifest it in the outside. If you're
Correct.
looking only in trying to make changes in the outside, that is what is failing. So all
Correct.
these great educationists, and tomorrow we are going to listen to speakers on Gandhiji and Swami Vivekananda. They're all talking of the same thing in the
Same.
sense that
Yes.
this first,
Yes.
first you need to pay attention to who you are in terms of
Exactly.
the self. So that experience, Nandita, every teacher has to take on the journey.
Yes, that's the
There
point.
is no way otherwise. There is
That's the
no
point,
no
and I just
easy way out. Yeah.
it
So it's going
doesn't
to take
fizzle out
time.
like that
Yeah.
experimentation that was there with CC. It fizzled out. I just hope this does not.
I
Mr.
understand where
Bhattacharya,
it comes from. Yeah.
yes,
The
yes,
CC
Mr.
part of it again was very technical, too technical, and making the teacher trying to think about assessing the child holistically, but too technically. And only the outer was constantly being, But yeah,
Correct.
you see, I do understand from where it comes, Nandita. We've got millions of schools and
Yes,
so many kinds of teachers, right
yes,
from the lowest end. Uh,
yes.
but the thrust and the aim, if it start, I think NEP is just trying to see that through this kind of a model, by default, we will have to be able to explore the inner landscape. That's all.
Correct. Thank you so much. Thank you. Mr. Bhattacharya has a question, I think. Yes,
Yeah.
Mr. Bhattacharya, please go ahead.
Uh, Good evening, everyone. I
Good
don't have a
evening.
question. I already mentioned that I don't have a question, but I want to give my take home from this today's wonderful session. Am I allowed to share my opinion or
Yes,
views?
of course. Yes, of course. Please go ahead.
Yes. First thing I would like to tell that Navanitadi and Bodhirupadi, I am also from Vishwabharati Shantiniketan. My entire education is there itself. And I have heard and listened to three other eminent speakers. One of you shared the educational pedagogy of Rishi Aravind and Srima. The second one from Vishwabharati, Rabindranath Tagore, and the third one is Rudolf Steiner from Austria. He was, I think, if I'm not wrong, he was the founder of Waldorf Education, right?
Yes.
Yes. So my thing is, in the context of the question that Navanita ma'am asked, that whether NEP 2020 there is any relevancy that we can implement in our real life practice. So my thing is, all these three institutions, particularly I will be talking about Shantiniketan, are already doing it. What the NEP 2020 is now telling, we have started, Rabindranath Tagore has started doing it long back. The hands-on activity, the focus on soul and mind, and the connectivity of all these things together, and to create the human potential in individual ground or individual aspect. It is what that these three institutions are doing since long back. So my understanding is NEP 2020 is a really sum up contribution of all these three institutional pedagogy. Tomorrow also two other institutions will come and share their views. So a wonderful platform when in Vishwabharati, I think Bodhirupa ma'am and Navanita ma'am, Nandita ma'am, both of you will be agreeing that when we go to our classroom in the morning, there was no definition of classroom. We used to sit under the tree and the nature used to teach us in a different way. The Sahitya Sabhas in the evening where we learned, even when we were in 6th and 7th grade, we learned that not only the textbook can confine us our learning, But beyond the textbook, we learn so many things from that part. The connectivity in between a teacher and a student, Dada and Didi, this kind of combination and this kind of I remember I was from Bengali department. So Shukomaida, Gopikada, all these eminent educationists, they have taught us that connectivity of emotional beingness with the pedagogical approach of hands-on learning can actually give the better education for any other individual whatsoever this matter. Now, at this point of time, we are losing that one. We are mainly focusing on the structural part of it, but we are not focusing on that empathy or the ethos that our educational institution must need to focus on. So today's session was really a very good one. I really thoroughly enjoyed all three eminent speakers. Hats off to all of you, ma'ams, and looking forward for tomorrow's contribution. Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Mr. Bhattacharya.
Thank you.
Mr. Arun has a question in the chat box, and I'm reading it out. What are the major hurdles in overcoming the discord and disharmony? And what effort needs to be made to overcome these hurdles? It's an open question.
It was mainly addressed to Madam Reddy.
Okay, all right. So,
Okay. Yes, that is the biggest, to be able to first look into ourselves. As I said, when we speak about integral and integrality and integral being, this is where the whole, I think, sadhana being commences. The fact that when we speak about our physical being and our emotional and our mental, they are generally aligned. They are saying different things, and there is a of war relation to making the choice of program development against that which is comfortable for us. So we are in a comfort zone in all these realms, whether on the physical level or on the emotional level. Certain habits, by default habits, we cling to that, and stops us from growing, and it stops us from aligning with our highest spiritual aspirations. So it's a whole journey where we need to. The challenge is very big, but it has to start. What we have done into school, this Aurobindo International School at Hyderabad, and of course, the other two speakers have spoken about their own schools. We have our most, parent school at Sri Aurobindo Ashram Pondicherry. I'm sure, all of you know about it, which was started in 1993 by the mother. The importance is given for self-awareness. So in our school at Hyderabad, we have this self-reflective, questions which we have, along with the students and teachers, designed at every level for the child to first observe the different voices, the voice of the physical, the voice of the emotional, the voice of the mental, apart from the deepest voice of the child, which is trying to seek perfection. So in alignment with that highest aspect of perfection, to what extent the child has taken the response. Like, I'll give an example from a simple habit, like let's say we are one student. On a physical level, the child will raise questions about whether he has slept on time, not wasted food, whether he has kind of eat, well in the morning. When did he get up? Has he kind of responsibly placed his bag in a certain place? Has he kept his table clean? Simple things at physical level, so on an emotional level, is he feeling happy? Is he feeling sad? Is he feeling angry? What are his emotions? At every level, we have come up with drawing different kind of, questions. We have raised certain questions which are appropriate to that age for the students to own responsibility of their actions on the physical domain, on the emotional, on the mental. So they're aware this process of awareness is very important. All of us educationists speak about discipline. Now, discipline means what? It is ownership of what you are doing on a physical level, emotional, intellectual level, is it? So to make them aware of ownership rather than trying to point fingers outside, say this is not okay, that is okay, because of that this has happened. We are trying to make the child look into themselves. So when you're talking about the challenges are huge, but this just has to, this is the only way to observe ourselves in relation to the different forces, different voices within us, and how they are all, whether they are all aligned to what the perfection, which we are all seeking. So to be able to constantly be aware and try to match towards that, as Santhya speaking about, or Bodhirupa spoke about, competition is for oneself. The growth and the development is important, not against, or against somebody. That is absolutely not important. To try to compare yourself. Comparison is a very negative kind of a movement. So unless one, and this awareness helps us to grow. So that's the journey. At every level, the awareness has to.
And there are a lot of schools who have introduced mental health program as well. That is primarily to kind of make them aware that, you are somebody, you are not anybody, you are somebody, and therefore, you should move ahead with your passions. Of course, there are hitches on the parents' part, or sometimes even the peer group. The mental health programs in certain schools, like we also have one, I think it's a very good beginning, where they realize, or they are even, as you said, the ability to understand the self will probably make them move ahead with their own choices.
Yes.
So that they excel.
Yes. Yeah. To own up the responsibility of making a choice is very critical.
Correct.
Both of a human being, and education has to provide.
Correct. Anyone else? Yes, Bodhirupa, please go ahead.
I just wanted to add a point that I think the time has come where we have to think about generating knowledge instead of transferring information. Because see, the information and technology undergoing paradigm change, access to information is no longer a challenge, which only the teacher knows how to do. So access to information is available to everyone, even a small child. So I keep telling my colleagues that our existence is questioned. So unless we think of an alternative, like we as teachers, our identity is in a crisis. So I think the time has come where we have to generate knowledge by kindling the curiosity inside us, be it a child, be it an adult. Yes. So these are the ways through which either NEP or our own curriculum, whatever, can be implemented, if not at one go, but gradually. That's what I feel.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Sharmishta is thanking all of you all, for this wonderful session. Anyone else? Anyone else would like to ask something? I don't see any more hands.
Thank you.
Okay. So since I'll just check once again with yes, so there are no more questions. So thank you so much, Dr. Reddy, Santhya and Bodhirupa. Thank you so much. It has really, really been an awesome evening, because you've taken the entire thing from such a different perspective, and the vision is so so wide that it really makes us start thinking on ourselves first before we do any thing with the children. So thank you, and looking forward to meet you all again tomorrow, right? At 5 p.m. Right? Over to you, Dipankar. There are people who are wishing to visit the yellow train, so be ready.
Sure. Most welcome.
Yes. Okay, then we'll end today's session. Thank you all, audience, for being such patient listeners. And please be there tomorrow as well. It's going to be another wonderful session. So thank you.
very much.
God bless and good night.
Namaste to all.
Thank you. Thank you so much.